How to Prophesy, Names and Numbers with Prophetic Codes 1, 3, and the Code of the Prophetic C is what we are looking at in this session video. It's an edition of the Prophetic series, and I'm glad you're here. You're welcome to my platform. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment to share me how the video has affected you, and make sure you share to bless somebody. Let's move into the teaching proper. How to Prophesy, Names and Numbers is one of the core concern of all prophetic people, particularly seers. And in the contemporary time, it's as important to be able to prophesy with that depth, calling names and numbers, as it was done in the years back then. I mean, in the old times, in Bible time. When you talk about names and numbers to be included in prophecy, to mean forensic depth and accuracy when you prophesy, today most people are kind of shun it or wave it off, dismissing it as something that is not supposed to be part of kind of prophecies that we should be making reference to today, and so on. Well, scripture tells us that prophesying with forensic depth, that's forensic prophecy, is as important today as it was then. And then you can't do forensic prophecy without picking names and numbers. Then you have to be picking those names and numbers with accuracy. For instance, 3 days ago, I was prophesying online in a program, and a man of God was watching me from Kenya, that's supposed to Lebanon, Puna. And I prophesied to him. I said, those 8 persons you picked in your church, and you said you want to go into Ghana to pray for the church, you are having mixed feelings about them, not being sure whether that's the move of God or not. So I'm here to confirm to you that that move is correct. That was on Monday. And this man of God said, Apostle is correct, that he had picked 8 persons on Sunday for the first time, and they started praying on Sunday for the very reasons I had prophesied. He told me nothing about this. In fact, he had to find a way of reaching out to me after the meeting to give me details about confirming the prophecy. Now, I gave him the number 8, and it was exact. A day before then, that was on Sunday, prophesying, I had to pick a young man from Ghana, and I told him, your mother is 57 years old. And that was it. You know, that steers the fate of the person receiving your prophecy. It's not for bragging. I can prophesy. That's not the goal. So there are instances in which I'll go as far as picking your bank account detail, not because I've got anything to do with it, but because that will steer your faith. If God can come this far with me and know me this deep, then He's going to be concerned certainly about some other facets of my life. That's why we need to include names and numbers when we prophesy to people. A part of it, again, is when people have the need to solve problems with those names and numbers, problems that cannot be solved otherwise. For instance, somebody have got a father somewhere that he doesn't know exactly his father, and then you are able to pick the name of the father of this person, and then it's exact. When they do a DNA test, it attests to the fact that the prophecy is correct. Why not? So, a lot more buttress the fact that including names and numbers when we prophesy, going that deep is important. But you too can do it. The fact that you're before this video and you stayed with me to this point shows that you have a prophetic seed in you, and that you can build it and go deep. There are prophetic codes I just want to analyze here. This calling of names and numbers is not limited to these prophetic codes, though, but I'll talk about these 3. Prophetic code number 1, prophetic code number 3, and then the prophetic code of the prophetic seed. Prophetic code number 1 is the one I want to start with, and I refer to it as a prophetic code of proximity for ease of reference. This one has got to do with prophesying to people with accuracy and with forensic depth as a result of the fact that these people are within a unique circumference with you. So you see that prophesying names and numbers has got to do with your ability, your mastery with prophetic codes. Somebody asked, why do we learn? People say we learn to know. No, we don't learn to know. We learn so that we can attain mastery. That's all. So mastery with prophetic codes will place you ahead of others who are doing the same thing that you're doing. Most of the time, we think that we're good with these prophetic codes already, but we are not. Mastery makes it clear. and mastery will be reflected in accuracy and then forensic depth when you prophesy. So this person is in a common circumference with me. For that reason, I can engage a certain spiritual gifts to pick their prophecy firsthand. And I can engage certain spiritual prophetic senses to pick their prophetic particulars, as I refer to them, or informations effectively. My receptors are likely to be smartest at their smartest or peak point of performance when you are in a common circumference with me. That's what prophetic code number 1 helps you to do. And it's a limited prophetic code in the sense that people that you prophesy to with this prophetic code must necessarily be within a common circumference with you. Namely, like we're in a studio here and somebody's with me in the studio here. Because of that, or in the church, or that is small enough, or in an office or something, and I'm able to prophesy to them because they are within a common circumference. So I can easily perceive or feel or smell their prophetic informations, or see, or even hear their prophetic informations. Those are issues that time talk to us. That's engaging prophetic code number 1. This way, it's very easy to do perception with prophetic code number 1. Perception gives us people's names and numbers. It's perception. You perceive the name. We can go deeper than that. So I recommend prophetic code number 1. Prophetic code number 3 has got to do with prophetic positioning. And this one has got to do with me within the common circumference that I am found with my client to be prophesied to. I have to walk about to see that active position. There were occasions where Jesus prophesied to say, the person that is dipping his hand with me into this person, the same person. This is the person that is not in training. That was like engaging prophetic code number 1 to prophesy. They were in the common circumference of the room in the Lord's Supper. But when it comes to the prophetic code of prophetic positioning, people like this man will say, I position myself on my tower. That's watch the tower. Stage myself. That's Habakkuk in chapter 2. To say, so that I will see what the Lord will see and what I will answer. You see occasions when somebody was brought to Jesus. A woman caught in the issue of adultery was brought to Jesus in John chapter 8, and Jesus had to bend down, just position to pick the most specific guide, instruction on how to handle that case. So he bent and was writing. And then he rose up. During the bending and writing with his finger on the ground, Jesus was busy browsing in the realm of the spirit what was going to be the best approach to solving the problem at hand. And that was going to be prophetic enough. That was exactly what Jesus did there. And rising up, he gave instructions on what the people who came with a woman caught in the adultery should do. If you've never sinned, then be the first person to cast a stone at this woman. Unfortunately for them, they all sinned and they put one by one, and the woman was left alone with Jesus. And that was the end of the stuff. Jesus got the result right. That was because he took position and then said something. And what he called was sin. Whoever has not sinned. So he noticed a common thing in all of them, and that was sin. Prophetic position. When Nathanael came and Jesus went as much as picking the name of the tree he was sitting under, or the woman, the Samaritan woman asked in John, rather, 4, met Jesus, and Jesus went that deep mentioned that you had 5 husbands and the one you are with is not even your husband. Jesus took certain positions. You see, when a prophet is talking with you and you see him either crossing his leg, as raising his head, bending down, or at times you guys are standing and he's walking about while talking to you as if he's just making fun of making the atmosphere lively or something, is only busy taking position. So prophets are very unique people that you can't understand. They can be talking with you and walking. They can be talking with you and stand At the point they will squat, at the point they will just walk off you and they look back. All these things just trying to gauge where their prophetic antenna senses your prophetic information at its peak. That's the best possible information. And then they stand there and they pretend to be standing there and give you prophecy. It's because that's where they can dictate your prophecy easiest. When they move away from that spot, they're likely not to. And at some point, it will fade out and they move to another spot and continue from there because they picked again another wave of the prophetic information. Let me stop here and move to prophetic code of the prophetic seed. This one, you see, when the prophet Daniel had an encounter with Gabriel, had repeated encounter with the archangel Gabriel in chapter 9 and then in chapter 8. Earlier on, somewhere in chapter 7, and when you see, even from chapter 7 to the end of the book, Daniel had a lot of very powerful experiences, and he specifically mentioned names all through. You see, when he talked about the king of Greece and all of these things, Daniel was always good with names, and it was accurate when he mentioned names. He would talk about kingdoms that will be coming. He mentioned the names of the kingdoms, the names of the kind of beasts that were going to be involved, and all of that. How come this guy was able to get these things this accurate, this prophet Daniel? One of the big secrets is seen in the prophetic code of Prophesy. He had come close to an angel to the point that he could engage the prophetic sense of touch, where an angel touched him and then prophecies were downloaded. Believe it or not, it happened with Daniel. Go back to your scripture and read. And then when the angel came close enough to Daniel, and Daniel had that kind of presence with the angel, when the angel disturbed the thin air layer around Daniel, the angel could access Daniel's prophetic case, and Daniel could access the information the angel brought. So that kind of made the prophet Daniel, left him with angelic ability, embedded in him. Now, Daniel moving away to anybody, like any other prophet today, moving to anybody and coming close to them, he too can disturb the prophetic atmosphere. That's a thin air layer around him. And when you come that close to them, you can perceive, just as you can perceive somebody's fragrance of perfume, the odor, the ceiling. That's when you come close enough and your prophetic senses are sharp enough, and then the receptors, let me stop there, are sharp enough, you will be able to pick names. And in the beginning, she may not be correct all the time, but with repeated interaction or engagement, you become correct. So people say that when God calls you to prophesy, it's just happening overnight. These are people who are not even prophets. They want to show us how the prophetic things that even the eagle learns how to fly. The falcon will take the eagle, throw it out, eaglet, and then it's struggling in the air there until it's almost landing it. A falcon comes again, backs it and picks it up, throws it off, takes it up to a very high altitude, then throws it up again. So in the prophetic, to God's own training, Joseph was not that level of a smart prophet when he interpreted dreams in Egypt, when he left his father's house. And Daniel was not that level of a smart prophet when he was taken as a slave guy from Judah into captivity in Babylon. Moses was not already that level of a prophet when he left Egypt to Jethro's house. So people grow in the prophetic over time. So there's no such thing as somebody who was called in the prophetic and began to prophesy and got it accurate and had mastery overnight. There is no such thing as mastery overnight. You come into mastery with repeated engagement, as said by Apostle Paul. Those who have used the word repeatedly. So prophets who are going to be accurate will be the ones that will take delight in learning so they can gain mastery. For these purpose, I want to stop here and wrap it up this way. With prophetic codes 1, 3, and the prophetic seed, you can pick names and numbers, and predominantly you perceive or feel or taste names around this. God bless you. You want to take your prophetic codes ability to a deeper depth where you are able to prophesy like I do. When I mention names, prophesying, people are shocked. How come you know this apostle? But this is the secret. and nobody. So you want to take your prophetic ability to a depth that you can bank on as a servant of God who's called to do the prophetic. Sign up with me at Shallow School of Science for a certificate course in forensic prophecy, or for the diploma course in forensic prophecy, or the micro forensic prophecy course, and take it work to a new height altogether. God bless you greatly. May the Lord unlock you to prophesy like you've never done before. In Jesus' name, see you, Shallow School of Science.